Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a matchup that, well, on the surface, it might just look like another high-scoring college football game. You see the ticker, right? Iowa versus North Texas, and you just expect a ton of points.
hmm
But when you actually start to, dig into the data, which is what we do here, you realize pretty fast we are not looking at a mirror image.
Not at all.
This is a collision. It's two completely different philosophies on how to move a football down a field.
It really is. It's that classic unstoppable force versus an immovable object. But it's more about the style. It's stylistic. You've got one team that is just so methodical, almost scientific.
Right.
And then the other one is just pure, unadulterated chaos.
I was going through the scouting reports this morning, and the metaphor that kept coming to my mind, and I want to see what you think, is this is a battle between a surgical scalpel and a literal blowtorch.
That's it. That's the perfect visual.
Yeah.
The scalpel versus the blowtorch. One is trying to make this perfect, tiny little incision.
Yeah.
And the others are trying to burn the whole house down.
So that's our mission today. We're going to unpack that, move past the box scores, and really get under the hood to understand the machinery. How do these offenses actually work?
And why are they so good, despite being polar opposites?
Exactly. And what are those specific X factors, the hidden variables that are going to decide who actually walks away with the win here?
And I think we need to set the expectation right now for everyone listening. If you tuned in thinking you were going to get a gritty, 6-3 defensive slugfest,
Trench warfare.
yeah, you might want to adjust your expectations right now.
So this is not going to be a field position game.
Oh, no, this is going to be a fireworks show. But the type of fireworks is going to look completely different depending on who has the ball.
All right, so let's start with the scalpel. Let's talk about Iowa. Their entire offensive identity feels like it's built on precision and balance.
It is.
And the surgeon holding that scalpel is their quarterback, Kevin Woods.
Kevin Woods. I mean, the data on this guy is,
Yeah.
it's honestly startling. We're not just talking about a good college quarterback.
No.
We are talking about someone playing at a legitimate Heisman finalist level.
The numbers that jumped out at me, right away, were the completion stats. He's completed 316 of 416 passes. That's, a 75% completion rate?
75%. In college football, where, the windows are so tight and there's chaos everywhere, to have that kind of accuracy on that kind of volume, it's absurd.
It's practically unheard of.
It is. And the context matters, too. He's not just throwing little screen passes to pad his stats. He's thrown for over 4,400 yards. But the number that really defines that scalpel analogy for me is the ratio.
The touchdown to interception ratio.
48 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions.
So for every 4 times he gets into the end zone, he only makes one mistake.
Precisely. You watch the tape, he looks like a 94 overall pocket passer from a video game.
Yeah.
He's robotic, but in the best possible way. He processes, finds the open guy, delivers the ball. He never forces it.
He takes what the defense gives him.
Exactly, but with lethal efficiency.
But here's the thing about being a surgeon, right? You need steady hands. You can't operate if someone's bumping your elbow.
Nope.
And that brings us to maybe the most shocking stat I found in this entire deep dive. We have to talk about the wall.
The offensive line. Yes, the unsung heroes of this Iowa offense.
I had to double check this because I honestly thought it was a typo in the spreadsheet. The scouting report says they have allowed 0 sacks across most of the depth chart.
It sounds fake, doesn't it?
It sounds impossible. How do you go a whole season without someone missing a block?
But it's real. For the vast majority of this season, Kevin Woods has been standing in what we call a clean pocket.
Can we just explain that for a second? I think we sometimes take that concept for granted. Why is a clean pocket so important for a quarterback's psychology?
It's everything. I mean, imagine trying to solve a complex calculus problem.
Okay.
Now imagine trying to solve it while a 300-pound defensive end is sprinting at you full speed.
Right. Your math skills are going to take a pretty big hit.
Exactly. When a quarterback knows he's safe, his eyes change. He stops looking at the pass rush and he starts looking downfield. He can go through his reads, first read, second read, third read. That 75% completion rate we just talked about.
It's a direct result of the offensive line.
100%. They're buying him the time to be perfect.
So, okay, you have a quarterback who doesn't miss, standing behind a line that doesn't leak. That's terrifying. But then you look at who he's throwing to, and we have to talk about Nathan McNeil.
The Swiss Army knife.
The source material literally compares him to Christian McCaffrey in black and gold. Now, that feels like hyperbole. Is the production actually there to back that up?
It's high praise, for sure, but the numbers actually support it. It all comes down to the duality of his game. Most backs are runners who can kind of catch.
Right.
McNeil is genuinely elite at both.
So break down the rushing side for me first.
On the ground, he's got 1,100 yards, but forget the total. Look at the average, 9.3 yards per carry.
That's a first down every time he touches the ball.
Almost every single handoff. And 16 touchdowns on the ground. That, right there, that's an All-American season for a running back. But then you flip the page.
To the receiving stats.
75 catches, 889 yards, another 10 touchdowns through the air.
So he's a 1,000-yard rusher who is basically a 1,000-yard receiver. That's just wild.
It is. But there is one specific stat, what I call the aha stat, that explains why this Iowa team is so dangerous. It's his RAC yards.
Run after catch.
Right. He has 737 run after catch yards.
Okay, let's pause on that. Why is that number so critical? Why does that matter more than just, his total yardage?
Because it breaks the geometry of a defense. It tells you that Kevin Woods doesn't have to throw the ball 50 yards downfield into tight coverage to get a big play.
Right.
He can throw a safe, surgical 5-yard pass to McNeil in the flat.
And McNeil turns that 5-yard pass into a 30-yard gain.
Exactly. He makes that first guy miss. And it's a nightmare for a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
You do everything right. You cover the deep routes. You force the check down. And you still give up a touchdown because McNeil just made your linebacker look silly in space.
It basically erases good defense. And while they're all panicking about McNeil, you've got O'Dean and K. Black stretching the field.
And D. Tinker, who's their home run threat. But McNeil is the engine. He's the guy that forces defenses to cheat up, and that opens everything else up behind him.
Okay, so that's Iowa. Calculated, efficient, surgical. They kill you with 1,000 cuts.
Deep cuts.
Deep cuts. Now, let's pivot, because if Iowa is the Scalpel, North Texas is the Blowtorch.
The air raid blowtorch.
This just feels like a totally different planet. We're moving from precision to what feels like pure aggression. And it all starts with their QB, Drew Mestemaker.
The gunslinger. And he earns that name every single snap. If Woods is about efficiency, Mestemaker is about volume and violence.
Violence is a strong word for a passing attack. What do you mean by that?
I mean, he attacks the deep parts of the field relentlessly. He's thrown for over 4,600 yards. That's more than Woods. And a staggering 54 touchdowns.
54. That's video game stuff. That's more touchdowns than some teams score in, 2 seasons.
It's just elite production. And surprisingly, he's still completing 73% of his passes, so he's not just throwing it up for grabs. But the mindset is the key difference. The scouting report says he plays like he's allergic to checkdowns.
Allergic to checkdowns. I love that. He gets hives if he throws a 5-yard out.
It just creates a totally different kind of stress on a defense. Woods is happy to take the 5-yard gain and live to fight another down. Mestemaker is looking 40 yards downfield on every single snap. He wants to rip the top off.
It sounds chaotic.
It's controlled chaos. That's the air raid philosophy. You spread the field incredibly wide, you force the defense to cover every blade of grass, and then you just attack the weakest link vertically.
And when you play that style, that vertical game, you need a special kind of weapon on the outside. You can't have average guys. And North Texas has a guy who is, he's basically a glitch in the system.
Baron Gipton.
Let's talk about the nightmare matchup. Because physically, this guy is a problem that I don't think you can even scheme for.
He is 6'5".
Yeah.
In college football, that is a cheat code. You just can't peach that. Most cornerbacks are, 5'10"? Maybe 6 foot on a good day.
So at 6'5", he's just going to box you out like a power forward. Just throw it up and let him go get it.
And he does that, for sure. He wins all those 50-50 balls.
Yeah.
But his stats tell you he's doing way more than that. 81 catches, over 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns.
And the report mentioned one specific highlight, a 99-yard touchdown reception.
And that tells you everything. A 99-yard touchdown means he caught the ball at the 1-yard line and outran everybody. So he's not just big, he's got real, legitimate breakaway speed.
We talked about McNeil's run-after-catch ability for Iowa. How does Tipton stack up?
Get this. Tipton actually has more RAC yards than McNeil, 825.
That's terrifying. A 6'5" guy who is that hard to bring down after the catch. It's a physics problem. A 190-pound corner just bounces off him.
But here's the real problem for Iowa, and this is where that air raid concept really shines. Someone listening might be thinking, okay, easy, just double-team Tipton.
Right. Put a safety over the top, the old Belichick strategy, take away their best guy.
You can't. You can't do it because North Texas has a 3-headed monster at receiver.
Who are the other guys?
D. Akbar has over 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. Kay Barnett has almost 800 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Wow.
So if you commit 2 guys to Tipton, Akbar is running wide open down the seam for a touchdown.
It's pick your poison.
It is. They spread you out, they find the one-on-one, and they exploit it mercilessly.
Okay. So we have the Scalpel and the Blowtorch. Both offenses seem pretty unstoppable. So the question becomes, how do you stop the unstoppable? Got to look at the defensive X factor.
Yeah. This is where the chess match really starts. Let's look at Iowa's counter first. To stop an air raid attack, it usually comes down to one thing: time.
You have to disrupt the quarterback's timing.
Exactly. You cannot ask your defensive backs to cover for 6 seconds. I don't care if you're Deion Sanders, somebody's going to get open. So Iowa's front seven has to get home.
And looking at their roster, Iowa seems pretty well equipped to do that.
Oh, they are. They have 2 elite pass rushers. G. Carfentis has 13 sacks, and Jay Anderson has 11 sacks.
That's 24 sacks from just 2 guys.
It's immense pressure off the edges. Their whole strategy has to be get to Mestamaker before he can launch it deep, make him uncomfortable. And behind them, they've got Drew McPherson at safety, Z. Armstead at corner, who has 5 picks. They're ball hawks waiting for a mistake.
So if Iowa's defensive line wins their matchup, Iowa wins the game.
Pretty much.
Now flip it. How does North Texas stop the Iowa machine? We already said they don't give up sacks and Woods doesn't make mistakes.
So North Texas has to play a different game. They know they probably can't just stop Iowa from moving the ball. They have to rely on havoc.
Havoc plays, turnovers, tackles for loss, that kind of disruption.
Exactly. And you look at one guy in particular, their linebacker, Antoine Smith. He is the key to this whole game for North Texas.
What are his numbers like?
The number that just jumps off the page is 26 tackles for loss.
26. That's incredible. That's more than 2 a game.
And think about what a TFL does to an offense like Iowa. Iowa wants to be in 2nd and 5. They want to stay on schedule.
But if Smith shoots a gap and blows up a run...
Suddenly it's 2nd and 15. Now the Scalpel is shaking a little. Now Woods has to throw in a situation he doesn't want to. That's where mistakes happen. Smith is a chaos agent.
There was one other interesting nugget in the report about the trenches. We talked about Iowa's wall, but what about the North Texas O-line?
That's a potential weak spot. Their center, C. Petway. He's the only lineman for North Texas who's allowed any sacks.
So he's the weak link.
And if you're Iowa, with those elite pass rushers, what do? You test him, you stunt Carfentis inside and see if he can collapse the pocket right up the middle.
Because you can't step up into a collapsing pocket.
You can't. It ruins everything.
All right, so let's synthesize this. Let's boil it down. What are the 4 keys to victory? The questions that will decide this game.
Okay, I think it comes down to 4 specific battles. First one, pressure. Can Carfentis and Anderson get to Mestamaker?
Because if he has a clean pocket, he's throwing for 400 yards, and North Texas probably wins.
Exactly. Second, tackling in space. This is all about North Texas tackling Nathan McNeil. We talked about those RAC yards.
Sometimes those high-powered offensive teams, tackling is an afterthought.
They cannot afford that here. A missed tackle on a 5-yard pass turns into a 50-yard touchdown. They have to wrap up.
Okay, what's number 3?
Explosiveness. Who hits more home runs? Both of these teams can score in a single snap. Woods to Tinker, Mestamaker to Tipton. Whoever lands more haymakers probably wins. You can't settle for field goals here.
And the 4th key?
Turnovers. It sounds like a cliche, I know. But in a game like this, the margin for error is razor thin. Both defenses have ball hawks.
One interception feels like it could be the entire ballgame.
It absolutely could be. One strip sack, one jumped route. That flips the whole thing.
So to recap, we have Iowa's balance versus North Texas's chaos. The Scalpel versus the Blowtorch.
It really is the ultimate clash of styles. Calculated precision versus just reckless high-speed aggression.
And you know, looking at all of this, I have one last thought for everyone to chew on. We always say styles make fights. But in the postseason, when 2 units are this elite, when the irresistible force meets the, immovable object, it usually doesn't come down to who has the better scheme.
No. What does it come down to?
I think it comes down to who blinks first. Which quarterback gets a little impatient and tries to force one in? Which cornerback gets greedy and jumps a route he shouldn't? In a game of near perfection, the first flaw is fatal.
That's the perfect way to frame it. It is a staring contest at 100 miles an hour.
All right, keep your eyes on those matchups. Tipton versus the Iowa corners. McNeil against those North Texas linebackers. This is going to be electric. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you next time.